Welcome again to your own Reviews channel where we review and explain movies. In this video I will review a crime, action movie called Hellhound from 2024, so sit back and enjoy. In the starting scene we see a man who visits the church, and went straight into confession chamber. Where we see Father Albert, the man grates him and then start confessing his crimes. He mentioned that he was 14 years old when he committed first murder with a knife. That incident completely changed his life. Father Albert didn't understand why he is telling him this, so he asked the man. The man asked another question: is it true every sinner will burn in hell? Father said yes, that's true. Then the man said, why did you committed those crimes, Albert? Father got so terrified that he dropped the Bible. Then we see Lorino. He showed the liquor bottle to the father and asked, do you know what it is? It is a holy water, he said. Then he opened his liquor bottle and start throwing it to the priest. When the priest tried to leave the chamber, Lorino rushes out and block the door from outside and ignite the chamber with a candle and leave. As it happened to be, Lorino is an elite hitman. In the next scene we see Myanmar-Thai border, where we see Lorino in a pickup truck. He came here on his old friend Satan's request. The reason why Satan invites Lorino is that he offers him a contract. Because he doesn't want to work in Bangkok, and on top of that, the target is a mafia kingpin. Satan explained that an old man jumped from a high-rise and takes his life, but his daughter Julia doesn't believe that she finds the murderer and his girlfriend who are in the package. After then Satan showed him the pictures of the contract. While giving Lorino weapons, Satan guided him to stay as sharp as he can. 8 hours later we see him in Bangkok with Satan's man. Then they drop Lorino outside of his hotel and leave. After checking his room, Lorino starts his work by going after the girl Nil. Then the camera shifts to Tar's side, who was torturing a man for illegal signatures. Meanwhile, Lorino went to a dance bar where Nil works as a pole dancer. After confirming her identity, Lorino went outside, and when Nil ends her work and heading home, Lorino along with Satan's man approaches her. With sweet talk and big amount, Nil accepts his offer and sate with Lorino on their tuk-tuk. Unaware of Tar's man Bijon, who was following Nil, Lorino takes Nil to his place and Bijon follows them. Lorino then takes Nil to bed. When he takes his jacket off, Nil's picture fell down. Lorino then went to washroom. After some moments, Nil gets off the bed where she saw her picture and start questioning Lorino. When Nil tries to run away from him, Lorino caught her and was about to take her life when Bijon enters the room. Then Bijon and Lorino start fight, but with good tactics and experience Lorino managed to take down Bijon and leave the place. Lorino calls his man when he get out of the building, who takes Lorino to a safe place where Lorino takes some rest. Meanwhile, Nil went straight to Tar, who gets really mad when he finds out his best man Bijon is no more because of that hitman. Tar order his man to take Nil out of his sight and find that guy. Vadim, Tar's man, take Nil and some other guys and went to the place. When they approached the place, police was already there, so they parked their vehicle aside of the road. Police left the place after some time, then Vadim and his men start inquiring about the incident from the neighbors. It is then Vadim notice a boy who was observing them. When Vadim tries approach him, the boy ran inside of his home. So Vadim and his men went after him and caught him. The boy then showed Sumsa's, Lorino's driver, pictures in his mobile. On the other side, Lorino and Sumsa visits an old friend who is well connected and knows everything. When they meet Lorino's friend Paul, he took him inside of his home. It is then Lorino gave him the pictures. Paul asked for some time to gather all the information about these two. Then Lorino and Sumsa left the place. On the way back, Sumsa asked Lorino, do you trust Paul? Lorino replied that I don't trust anyone, besides that did you see his face when he saw those pictures, like he knows them personally. Then Sumsa dropped Lorino to his hotel, and went home. When Sumsa entered his home, he saw his grandma fallen on the floor, so he ran towards her. At that time they entered the room, then Sumsa start fight back. He managed to take them down, but that takes all his energy. After them the big boys entered the room and easily takes him to Tar's place, where Tar starts torturing Sumsa and mention that no one can touch Nil. Sumsa can't keep up with their torture and gets unconscious. Tar then order his men to search him. When they find his mobile, Vadim unlocks it with Sumsa's finger and dialed the last number of his call list. Surprisingly, it was Laurino's number. Tar then tried to scare Laurino, but Laurino told him that I will come for you now. It is then Tar ends the call, and order his men to get rid of Samsa. Vadim and others take him in their SUV and throw him into the river. Luckily Samsa survived. With some difficulty he reached Laurino's room and told him everything. Laurino give him ice and mention that they used him as a bait because they didn't knew my location, so we have to leave, otherwise we both will die here. Then Laurino and Samsa leave the room. Then we see Tar's men was already in the building and approaching to Laurino's room. Laurino and Samsa easily sneaked out from the back side of the building. But Tar's men were also at the front entrance of the hotel, so then Laurino went ahead and shot them all and take Samsa to Paul's place. Paul ordered his man to call the doctor. Meanwhile he tried to change Laurino's mind and make him stop this job. When the doctor arrives at the apartment, he tried his best but couldn't save Samsa's life. Next morning we see Satan came to meet Laurino in a bar where they decide how to take down Tar. On the other side we see Tar's ladyboy was arguing with him, and when he pushes Tar away it is then Tar gets mad at him and start punishing him with slaps and then belt. Then camera shifts to Paul, who was about to inform Laurino and Satan the location of Tar. Paul requests them to make your entrance after the fight because he have placed a huge bet in the fight. Laurino and Satan went back and start preparing for the job. At the fight side we see Paul and Tar enjoying the fight, and then Paul leave the place. Right then camera shifts to Laurino and Satan, who were approaching at the location. When they arrived at the place they were greeted with armed men. Satan and the driver got shot, but Laurino manages to kill them all. When they reached the fighting arena, an old lady was cleaning the place who informed them the fight was ended 2 hours ago. In the next scene we see some armed men take down a pink taxi. Unfortunately Satan was in that taxi. Then one of the men called Vadim and gave him the good news. Vadim informs Tar that the threat is now taken care of. On the other side we see Paul preparing for bed, then he noticed Laurino standing in his balcony. Then at gunpoint Paul take Laurino to Tar's building, where Laurino shot the old guy and went inside of the building, where Laurino passes by Vadim, who noticed Laurino and attacked him, but Laurino manages to take his life as well. When he was about to proceed forward, then 2 more guys came there whom Laurino take down easily. Then Laurino enters the VIP lounge. There a dancing girl noticed Laurino's bloody face and scream. When Laurino get all the attention, then he asked Tar's men about his location. At first they hesitate, but Laurino was not in a mood to take no for an answer. So he keeps shooting them one by one until they give Laurino what he wants. On the other side we see Tar was in private room with his 2 girls, where his ladyboy came after some argument. He shoot at Tar's chest. Right then Laurino enters the room and shot ladyboy. After that he approaches to Tar and puts 2 bullets in Tar. Then he killed Nil and left the second girl alive and leave the place. Laurino went back to Satan's place, where Julia came to pay the remaining payment. Julia brings more than what was due, because she was thankful to Laurino's work. Laurino tell her that she is quite brave girl who visit a man like Laurino alone, so he points a gun at her and then tells her when the second's needle approaches to 9 I will pull the trigger. After that Laurino went for a walk in the jungle. When he stopped for water, right then a bullet hit on his forehead, which was shot by a young boy. And the movie ends. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, share, and for those who haven't, please subscribe the channel.